This week, the issue of the week: what is that oily substance that's in the ground at the Harvard Road development site? The issue of the week this week picks up where we left off, and I wish I had time to produce a fancier video for you all with PowerPoint the way I could last time. There's just been so much information and so much effort to chase down the correct information this week that I just need to get the information out to you because there are some time-pressing parts to this story. So let me update you a little bit on what's happened since last week. First of all, the immediate response to our publication of the story last week, along with the piece in the Delco Times, was that rather than communicate with the neighborhood, the developer chose to put up no trespassing signs, threaten prosecution. I myself received a letter threatening me with criminal prosecution as well as civil prosecution for supposedly publishing incorrect information and false information to you. That's kind of interesting because obviously the entire piece, if you listen to it, and I know you have, is simply quotes from residents expressing their concern and my directly quoting to you from information that is contained in the Planning Commission meeting notes and the Board of Commissioners meeting notes, and information that's available on public websites from the Recorder's Office in media about real estate transactions. So it's interesting, there's been no accusation of wrongdoing by anyone. This is information that I am providing to residents because the local residents on Washington Avenue have asked me to step in and provide that information and share information because no one else is listening. The update at this point is that we have reached out again to EPA to get the test results, or the initial test results. Now, EPA has become a little bit tight-lipped. They were only willing to give me the barest information and were not willing to engage in any kind of conversation or explanation of what comes next. The statement was that the substance that was identified at the Harvard Road site is weathered diesel fuel and lubricating oil. Okay, so we have the obvious confirmation that there's oil in the ground. Well, we knew that from the pictures looking at that. My environmental expert, who has been providing me with information in the background, says that the EPA statement is basically the equivalent of someone saying there is a sky up above us, but not giving us any kind of weather forecast. We don't know the levels of toxicity of this substance. We don't know whether it meets any kind of standard that requires EPA remediation. We just don't know. We move on to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. Efforts to reach out to them have been left hanging. They responded that they were going to get back to me. They were provided with basic questions about, what is DEP's involvement? What is the plan? There has been no response as of this point. Let's move on to Haverford Township. We published a letter to Township Manager Larry Gentili. He responded that he was forwarding the message on to the Assistant Township Manager, Lori Hanlon-Widdop. Ms. Hanlon-Widdop did respond with an email that she wishes me to share with you. Well, I'm happy to share what she had to say. She said that they are working with EPA Rich Rupert, who is the on-site coordinator. According to Ms. Hanlon-Widdop, Mr. Rupert was noted to say that there was less than a quart of oil found in the excavation, a thin film floating on the water. That the property had been studied over many years and that the soils that were found to be contaminated were removed from the site, and that they looked into the dead fish that were found in Naylor's Run, and they determined that it was coming from upstream from the site and was probably related to algae. Now, what's interesting about this, and that the other interesting piece of information was that the preliminary results were that the contamination at the site had nothing to do with the Superfund site, which no one was actually thinking it was, and no one was asking that. We know that there's oil in the ground now. That was obvious from the get-go. We know that the EPA has confirmed that this is weathered diesel fuel and lubricating oil. but no one is answering any question about what is going to be done about this substance, whether there's a plan in place to remediate that, who is in charge of overseeing whether it is being properly dealt with. The developer has, as I said, responded simply by circling the wagons and threatening everyone with lawsuits for even looking into this matter and trying to get attention to the legitimate concerns of local residents who are worried about very basic things. They simply want to know, is this dangerous? Is that my health and the health of my children at risk here? Is the value of my property at risk? Now, to Ms. Hanlon-Widdup's comment about quoting Mr. Rupert about there being less than a quart of oil, honestly, that is absolutely absurd. If you look at the pictures, if you have been to the site, there is a great deal of oily substance there. And if you visit the neighbors along Washington Avenue, I'll put up this picture, even though I don't have time to do a fancier job of it. This is a neighbor's backyard adjacent to the site on Washington Avenue, and you can see this black tarry substance that is literally bubbling up out of the ground, on the adjacent property. So in order for that to be bubbling up out of the ground, there must be a significant quantity of substance that is, not even visible at this point. So the residents want to know what is being done. Well, we have reached out to Representative Greg Vitali, since we have not been getting a response directly from DEP, and Representative Vitali has arranged a meeting that is taking place Friday at 10 a.m. on the entrance to the site on Harvard Road. So concerned residents are invited to please come out and hear what Representative Vitali has to say. He is bringing with him representatives from both EPA and Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to provide some information about what's happening at this site and who's in charge and who is going to do what. I'm hoping that the local Haverford Township is also going to give voice to what it is they intend to do, since they signed off on this. I have a question as to where Jimmy McGarity is on this. He is on record in both the Planning Commission minutes and in the Board of Commissioners meeting minutes being strongly supportive of this development plan. He is the only one who actually specifically referenced it as the McCandless Fuel Oil's property and made a statement about being glad that someone was going to clean it up, not necessarily referencing the material that people did not know because the excavation had not taken place yet. But where is Mr. McGarity on this issue? Local residents along Washington Avenue have said that they have called Mr. McGarity and that he has not to date returned a phone call about this issue. So we invite Mr. McGarity to please comment on this site and on his support for this site, and the need for oversight now to make sure that a plan is properly in place to deal with what we now know at least is diesel fuel, and weathered diesel fuel and lubricating oil in the ground that is there. So concerned residents, people are starting to hear your voices finally. So please, if you're available, come out Friday at 10 a.m. at the entrance to the Harvard Road development site. If you go to Harvard Road, if you look on the map, it's where it dead ends essentially at the moment. And meet us there at 10 a.m. on Friday. As I said, Representative Greg Vitali will be there, along with representatives from both PA, DEP, and the EPA. And anyone else who has questions about this and is looking for information about that, hopefully we can get some answers to the questions. So that's the update for the moment. Again, I wish I had time to go into it in more detail. There are a lot more details I will be putting together in a more nuanced presentation here with some better graphics and slides for you, but I wanted to get this information out to you as soon as possible given the meeting that is taking place on Friday. So for now, that is the issue of the week. I am Dr. Mark Kosman. This is the Haverford 7 Show. I appreciate greatly your support of this show and the number of people who are starting to pay attention and are sharing this content on Facebook, on Twitter, by forwarding emails. If you subscribe to the show, you will get one email a week that has the headlines of the show so that you don't miss out on anything. Please forward it to friends, family, and other concerned residents. This is your show. The more you engage, the more valuable it will be. As you can see, when people share, when people talk, when people engage, when people spread the word, things actually start to happen. The residents of this township have a right to protect themselves and inform themselves and speak openly, honestly, and transparently about what is going on, because when we do that, things get done. This is not about being adversarial. It's not about being out to get anybody. It is just about neighbors looking out for neighbors, sharing information, and making sure that the right thing gets done by the right people. The theme of the show, who is doing what and why. And that's all we are asking. That's all we will continue to ask. And we will not stop broadcasting because of people threatening with statements that are absolutely incorrect. So again, that's the issue of the week. We will be back with more on this issue. We will cycle back to other issues that we've started to bring up. There are many more issues that you need to know as a resident of Haverford Township that impact us here directly in the 7th Ward. So again, that was my long-winded sign-off. This is Dr. Mark Kosman from the 7th Ward. Until next week.